What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the happily hostile Dr. Disaster. And you know, it's always been a part of human nature to want to cheer for the underdog when he's squaring off with someone much bigger than him. That feeling gets a whole lot more intense when you add in personal stakes though, which is what we have happening right now in the gaming industry. AA games have been kicking ass, pumping out titles like Claire Obscure Expedition 33 and The First Berserker Kazan. Those were made by small but passionate teams who clearly just wanted to give gamers an experience. And one of the nicest things about AA games is that since they cost a hell of a lot less for the studio to make, the games are usually quite a bit cheaper to buy.
I love you!
Saving a couple of bucks in this hobby is becoming extremely important these days, considering, as everybody undoubtedly knows by now, that Nintendo raised their prices in a big way, making their new console, the Switch 2, whose power level is roughly on par with the likes of the PS4, but they made their console $450, and more egregiously than that, they have made their high-end games $80.
We've got to have money.
Well, unfortunately, this has inspired Microsoft to follow suit and raise their prices. Not only are they matching Nintendo with their own $80 games, but the bozos at Microsoft are raising prices on consoles that are many years old by around $100. I think we can safely blame Nintendo for having started this ball rolling, but let's be brutally honest here. If gamers want to find someone who needs to be blamed for this mess, they need to look in the mirror, because despite a bunch of us pushing back against Nintendo's prices on social media and whatnot, people still went out and bought the Switch 2 to the point that it sold out.
I blame myself.
So do I.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. The first part of the novel that I've written, a dark fantasy story called The Darkest Heritage, is now available in audiobook format for members only. The book itself will be ready to purchase on Amazon in the near future, but in the meantime, if you want to support alternatives to mainstream crap, then consider becoming a member of the channel for as little as $5 a month, a far sight better than what we are being asked to pay for modern video games. But in any case, let's take a gander at what is happening with the price hike for Microsoft. The timing of this announcement from Microsoft cannot be overstated. You see, about a week ago was when the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders opened up in the United States, the last country to have access to the pre-orders, and within no time at all, they were completely sold out. Despite the price hikes that caused massive consternation in the gaming community, tons of gamers still flocked to the pre-order sites and scooped the Switch 2s up. This gave Microsoft the green light to go ahead and raise the prices on their own stuff. I'm pleased to say that I was not one of those people that went out and bought the Switch 2. I originally planned to, but this sort of thing that we are seeing is what prevented me from doing so. I didn't want to support inflated pricing that was obviously going to proliferate throughout the industry. Maybe I'm just a sucker though, because everybody else just went out and scooped them all up. But just a little over a week after gamers caused the Switch 2 to be sold out, Microsoft said, hey, I want a piece of that action too. Nintendo absolutely caused this chain reaction, and PlayStation will obviously be next in line. They view themselves as the equals of Xbox and Nintendo, of course, so they won't want to miss out on this excuse to charge more. They already recently raised prices on the PlayStation Plus, but let's look at this article here from Insider Gaming to see what Microsoft is doing specifically. It says here, Microsoft has confirmed that all Xbox Series consoles, games, and accessories will see a price increase starting today, and then, if we scroll down, they have a list of the new prices for their consoles and accessories. The Series S 512GB console goes up to $380, up from $300. Series S 1TB consoles increase to $430, up from $350. The Series X digital console goes to $550, up from $450. The Series X disc console increases to $600, up from $500, and the Series X 2TB Galaxy Special Edition shoots up to $730 from $600. At this point, I wonder how long it'll be before they start blaming tariffs for the price hike again, because they know, the people in the media that is to say, who run cover for the likes of Microsoft, they know that a lot of useful idiots will eat that narrative right up. I had a GameStop employee, for example, just the other day. When I stopped in at my local GameStop the other day, this employee started up a conversation with me. We started talking about the price of games, and then he started whining about tariffs, as if that was what caused Nintendo's $80 games, and I had to shut that shit down really fast. That is just a convenient excuse. But anyhow, in this Insider Gaming article, you can see that the controllers and headsets for the Xbox mostly increased by about $10 per unit, and also, at the end of the article, they mention that the price for the Xbox consoles is going up in Europe as well, meaning that the US tariffs are categorically not the cause of the price increase. This is just Microsoft being opportunistic in the wake of Nintendo raising their prices successfully. And then, if you look at the headline here for this IGN article, you can see that the price change for Microsoft first-party games will be jumping up to $80 this holiday season as well. It is not just the consoles. This is further reason as to why we need to support AA games and cheer for the likes of Claire Obscure Expedition 33. They hired a team of passionate developers who made a game that is likely a contender for Game of the Year, and they did it with a skeleton crew compared to their AAA counterparts. For reference, after Dragon Age the Veilguard flopped, BioWare got trimmed down to just under 100 employees. Meanwhile, Sandfall, the developers of Claire Obscure, they had about 30 employees. So, because they spent so little making their game, they only charged $50 for it. As Grums posted on X, which way, Western Gamer? Should we normalize $80 games and $100 price increases for 5-year-old hardware, or... And then he shows an image of the Xbox price increases next to an image of the Oblivion remastered game for $50 and Claire Obscure with a price cut knocking this 1-week-old game down to $45. Obviously, studios like Ubisoft will match the likes of Microsoft and Nintendo, raising the prices on titles like Assassin's Creed, while a studio like Sandfall recently lowered their prices on Claire Obscure. That's a game that is only a week old, and it's selling like crazy, and they still lowered their prices, because they can afford to, because they didn't put that much money into making it. You can clearly see who to support, but I will say this, what I'm really hoping for right now is that the PS5 doesn't actually change their price. If they leave their console alone, then this might be the final nail in the coffin for Microsoft in the console wars that they have already lost. This would knock them out of the competition, and it might transform them into a software-only company. If PlayStation can stay the course on the price of their own consoles, this might be a clever move for them. But I'm gonna leave it there. What do you think of all this price raising? Did you buy a Nintendo, or were you a conscientious objector, so to speak, like me? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching me, Hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.